Chosen Sports, episode 11. The band is back together. Got the homies D Money and Chenny back this week. We're here going to grade some of these crazy NFL free agency moves. Absolutely popping off. Billy B is eating A++ grades. I am loving it. The man's dishing out the wallet for once in his fucking life. And he's not even done yet. Watson, come on home, baby. Come on home to the Pats. But
It's
yeah,
shaping up that
high
way.
fives all around, boys. High fives.
Oh man, the Pats, they got me beyond fired up. Let's just put it to those words there. I mean, I already saw a tweet the other day that was the Pats spent more money in the past 2 to 3 days than they have in the last 10 years in free agency. Just goes to show you the Patriots really have no needs in free agency the past until this year. But Billy B had a plan this whole time. We watched this team go 7-9 last year, with a bunch of scrubs practically. And, this year he's coming out fully reloading the team, getting our opt-outs back. We're getting old players back that we lost that were studs for us. So, I mean, just as we started this video, Kyle Van Noy coming back to the team. Love seeing that. They added fucking great pass rusher, Matthew Judon. He's great. I think he's going to be awesome. He's the exact player that we need on the edge there because he literally fits in Belichick's persona so well because he is a two-dimensional player. He can rush and he can also drop into coverage. Belichick loves the guys that can do both of those things from the edge. So he fits in great. The Godchucks kid, he had a bicep tear and he was been out, but his first year with the Dolphins was very good. So hopefully we can get that kind of production out of him. Good run stuffer, big meatball in the middle. That's what we need. And then, on the offensive side of the ball, they've been going crazy. On the skill position side, we added two wide receivers and two tight ends. We added Nelson Aguilar, who had a breakout year last year with the Raiders. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I think he's a good deep threat. As long as he can keep catching the ball. He had a little bit of problem with the Eagles, but who plays good in the Eagles, right? So yeah, he's back. He had a good breakout year with the Raiders. I know the Raiders fans are sad to see him go. Broke some hearts there, but he's on the Pats now. And then Kendrick Bourne, who I have always thought was a pretty solid player. He just never really got a full opportunity because the 49ers, they always added two young rookie wide receivers. They added Debo and they added Brandon Ayuk, who just outshined him just being the young talent they were. But I think Kendrick Bourne has a lot of talent, so he's a good addition to that wide receiver group. And then we added the two best tight ends possible in free agency. So, I mean, we have the Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, both studs. And, it fits Cam Newton's type of offense. He's really good with the tight end. We saw it in the past with Greg Olsen. So I'm really pumped. They get an A+ fucking 1,000 times for me because I've never seen them do anything like this in my 20+ years of being a Patriots fan.
Bill said, "I'm gonna turn off salary cap." Like if he's playing Madden, he got pissed.
Yeah, I agree with everything Vinny said there, man.
I mean, it's pretty tough to combat them not having an A++ grade. They made all those moves for some of the top guys of their position, like in the league, and then they still have like 30+ million left in cap. It's actually insane. So
they were all team-friendly deals. The way they structured them, they did guaranteed money and then all incentive-based, like just to get the guys to buy into that. And they say, "Oh, nobody wants to play in New England. Nobody wants to play without Tom." Like, really? Bill's like a master negotiator. I don't know how the fuck he does it.
Dude, every single person they went after has pretty much been like, "Yep, bet New England, here we come." And, and honestly, dude, like this team, man, I'm telling you, the way that they're shaping out, I'm looking at the roster, especially if we can keep Gilmore, which it looks like right now there hasn't been too many rumors of us moving him. So if we end up keeping him too, the defense is fully going to be back at full strength. We're getting some of those old pieces back with Van Noy, Donta Hightower, obviously, some of those big opt-outs, big losses we had from the previous year's free agency. So, I mean, that defense is going to be locked and loaded. We finally get an elite pass rusher, going to be pairing alongside Winovich. We'll spend a little extra time on the Pats, obviously, because this is our team. But
just look at the defense last year, man, and all the guys who opted out, and then you add Judon. I mean, that guy, he's got to be one of the best linebackers in the league. I mean, honestly, as far as rushing the passes, stopping the run, pass coverage, this guy can do anything.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, under Belichick, I mean, come on. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, you don't have Brady, so I mean, you got to fill the holes. I think they realized that.
Yeah.
I think they were just like, yeah, we don't have Tom. I mean, he fills most of the holes himself, but I mean, come on. I mean,
he just added area of that
two top tight ends.
The only weak point now. I mean, I think we could add another linebacker to the team on defense. I'd say our D line could still use a little bit of work, but it's not bad. On the offensive side, it's just realistically, will Cam Newton play well? That's the question. Other than that, on offense, we have great running backs. We have solid wide receiving core now with those two additions. I think we have two of the better tight ends in the league. We have a great O line. Get one of the best head coach. So it's like, I mean, we have everything else going for us. It's just the quarterback play. If the quarterback play is there this year, then we're going to be contenders. That's how it is.
Cam Newton has no excuse. I mean, you have three receivers, barring injury. You have two top tight ends. I mean, they're going to run the football all day.
Oh my
God!
And
then the play action pass is going to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, it's really up to him. I mean, there's no excuse. He has everything he needs.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking into adding Lenny Lombardi to Fournette, and they're looking at Chris Carson as well. They were in talks with them both. So
yeah, big offensive lineman loss though. Joe Dooney. That's a tough one. But they made the trade for Trent, trying to fill it.
Beast.
And I think it'll pan out for him. I
really just like all the moves. To be honest, I think $80 million is too much for a guard, to be quite honest with you. Now, that's a lot of money to sink into a guard. I know guard, like obviously O-line is super important. I think if anybody should be getting the money, it's the tackles though. That's the harder position. It's the position that is, most vulnerable, quarterback's blindside, whatnot. I think they deserve a little bit more money. I think $80 million, obviously he deserves it. He's probably one of the best guards, if not the best guard in the league. But I mean, realistically, what are you going to do? You can't keep them all. I really like the moves they've made, and I like the losses that we've cut. So honestly, like the Patriots get nothing less but an A+ from me.
Yep. Big balls from Billy B.
Easily, and I'm so proud to say this, easily the biggest winner of free agency so far. The Patriots, 100,000%.
It's literally like Madden franchise. The dude literally said, all right, hold my dick real quick. Like, I'm gonna just turn off salary cap. I got that stimmy and I went fucking dicko mode.
Yeah, Belichick caught the stimmy and then he shut off fucking salary cap mode on franchise and Madden, and then he just went in, bro.
Do you want to break down your Packers? Who
they
got your boy Aaron Jones, so you don't have to be on Planet Bullshit.
We'll jump into them. We'll jump into them. Aaron fucking Jones, baby, back in the cheese. Let's fucking go. Didn't think it was gonna happen. Last day. What happens?
Not us.
Boom. Sign the homie, dude. Let's go. So we're looking good, man. I don't know. We need to sign some guys, though. I mean, we're sitting back, watching all these guys come off the board here. But Aaron Jones. So I'm not upset. But
will they ever add that wide receiver too that you guys so desperately need?
Listen,
the defense.
The defense, more importantly.
Oh man, I don't know if we're ever gonna get a defense.
Dill, what do you think? They've just been snoozing on signing a soul on defense.
Poor Jared Alexander. His back's gonna give out.
I don't know, man. I thought, there's a couple guys left out there, but is Green Bay gonna sign him? Who the hell knows? I wouldn't trust it.
Well, what's their cap situation?
We still get we have the draft. We also got 3 compensatory picks. So pretty sure it was in 4th, 5th, and 6th round. So that adds a couple draft capital for us.
You guys lost Lindsley too, the center.
Yeah, that was huge. We need to add an offensive lineman, but we do have a center. We have Elton Jenkins. He'll move right into the center spot.
Mm-hmm.
When Lindsey was hurt, I mean, the guy, I think he allowed 1 sack all year, Elton Jenkins. So I'm not too worried about that. But man, Aaron Jones, man, I can't even, you know what I mean? Can't get mad.
Yeah, he's a beast.
We lost Jamal Williams, and I love his energy, but man, Aaron Jones back with the cheese. Let's go.
Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Do you know what their cap situation's like? I don't know how much cap space they have.
Yeah, not very good.
Yeah,
not very good.
Let's grade the Packers since we talked about them. I mean, they didn't do too much. They signed their most important player back, Aaron Jones. They lost Corey Lindsey. That's a big loss. That was, one of the better centers in the league.
Kevin King's gone, but who's that? That's not going to hurt anybody.
Kevin King.
He fucking screwed us. He fucking screwed us.
So funny.
I don't want to see him back in the fucking green and yellow. I'll tell you that.
Back with the cheese. Come on,
man. And we lost Jamal. And we got back. We did a little couple pay cut deals with offensive lineman Billy Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Big Z, Zadarius Smith took a pay cut. That was the deal that signed Aaron Jones. He took the pay cut so they could pay Jones, and that's, man, I love that guy. Now I love him even more. Awesome. But we'll see. I mean, they definitely have to look restructuring Rodgers. I mean, we still have Galladay and out there. Hopefully, we can try to get somebody, even if we draft somebody. But I can't even can't count on that scumbag of an organization. But at least we got Jones. What are you gonna do? But I give them. I mean, the Packers, they get a C so far. I mean,
yeah,
you're not gonna.
You guys got the important guy back, but you lost a couple pieces.
I mean, if they thought that they could, do something without Aaron Jones on the offensive end, I mean, and without Jamal Williams, you're out of your mind. I mean, AJ Dillon's a good young back, but he's not going to catch the ball out of the backfield. He doesn't have the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's two guys in the league who have averaged over 5 yards a carry and 30 touchdowns in the last 2 years, and it's Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry. So, I mean, that's a big pickup. Even though it's not really a pickup.
Yeah, I give him like a C+. Basically just for Aaron Jones, but even
they need to make some moves.
He's a beast, but he wasn't even like their biggest need. They really need to revamp that defense.
They need to look at. They need a corner. They need a linebacker. They need a lot.
They need a lot more on defense. I think literally like Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams can hold it down on offense like 100%. Like you have some of the best at each of those positions, obviously.
I'm not worried about the offensive side. I mean,
the defense just needs to get better. I mean, they just don't make any moves to make it better. I don't know. They shouldn't have dropped their quarterback first round last year, but that's another video to discuss.
That's what I was just gonna say. I mean, we were in the same spot 2019, and what did they do? They drafted a quarterback, and then they drafted a running back, and then what happened? We get to the same spot, and we're back in the same situation, except we lose our center. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I hope that we can do something, but it's getting to be ridiculous.
They got to pull something out of their ass. They had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers like the last 30 years, and only have 2 Super Bowls for it.
Aaron Rodgers only had a top 10 defense once, Super Bowl champ. Every other year, hasn't done it.
What does that say?
Hasn't been able to get out of it. Yeah.
Defense wins championships. What does that say?
It always has, and it always will.
Move on to the Cards, since that was another big team.
I was just about to bring them up because they've been doing some big things lately too.
They're doing some sneaky work.
Yeah,
definitely.
They did lose Patrick Peterson. He's on the back end of his career. He's 31 now.
He looked slow last year.
Yeah, he had an off year. I mean, it happened.
Yeah, let's just touch on that. I mean, he goes to the Vikings. What's he thinking? I mean, that's the only person they pretty much picked up.
I think that he honestly is probably at a point. I mean, if I was him, I would have wanted to go to a contender to get a chance to win something. But obviously Minnesota's probably not a contender. They might be able to sneak in the playoffs. They have a sneaky good year or something. But Arizona overall, they lost a couple, big name players. They lost Patrick Peterson. They also lost Hassan Reddick, who's the outside linebacker that's right in his prime right now, and he had a really, really good year last year. Good pass rusher, so that was a big loss for them. But on the flip side, they added J.J. Watt, obviously a generational player, and they also added Matt Prater, veteran kicker, and also A.J. Green. I mean, that's a pretty good, lights out offense they got there with DeAndre and fucking A.J. Green now, Christian Kirk. That tight end last year was making a lot of good plays too. Dan Arnold, I think his name is.
He can he puts his body in the line.
He balls really good red zone threat. I saw Kyler was starting to use him a lot last year, so he was definitely impressive. Going to be a very, very good offense, probably a top 5 in the league, maybe. We'll see. But that offense is going to be firing. Their defense will be decent. That's going to be a good team down the stretch, I think. If they can pull some games together and win, they usually blow it late in most games. But realistically, their free agency, since they lost a couple big players, I'll give them AJ Green's a little bit injury prone. Matt Prater's 37, going to be 38. JJ Watt's also old, but I mean, and they paid him a lot. But realistically, they did make some good pickups. I'll give them a B plus or a B.
It's nice to know.
I'll go B, just because of the age and the injury history and that shit. They didn't pick anybody. They didn't pick anybody up that's in their prime. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with Seattle's issues and the Rams' issues. So I think the uncertainty with those two teams. Now you can kind of like put the Cardinals in a position where it's like, oh, maybe they win the division.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that division's really, kind of up for grabs. I mean, there's a lot of quarterback controversy going on. Who knows if Jimmy G is going to be back with the 49ers? Who knows if Russ is going to be staying there with the Seahawks? The Rams are obviously in a new situation now with Stafford. So like that division has a lot of change. So they can definitely sneak in and take the first seed this year 100% if, one of these teams starts sleeping. But what would you guys give them for a grade?
I mean, I'd give them a good B. Definitely.
Yeah, I think a B is solid. That's what I would give them. Just because the age, like I said, I think the age of the players they got were a little bit older. They're past their prime for the most part. And then they also got some guys that were a little bit injury prone. So, and they lost Hassan Reddick, who I thought was a big loss. Plus,
yeah, he is.
So I gave him a B just because they added some, they lost some.
Yeah, I mean, they were a good team last year. They only got better, even if it wasn't like a major jump. But, you can't underestimate a couple of guys that have come back, like Chandler Jones, who came off of injury. And then Buda Baker is absolute stud back there in the secondary. So that defense has some real potential. And the offense, is going to put up points. Anytime you got D-Hop lining up on the outside, you're going to put up points. So
the Jags have been making kind of a splash, too. They've been making some big moves.
Yeah, they're trying to build for Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they picked up Marvin Jones. I think that's a great move. I mean, even
that receiving core is going to be much better with him added in. That receiving core needed like one more piece.
I mean, they're getting him. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, and you add a nice veteran receiver like Marvin Jones. I mean, that's perfect for them. I think it's an A fit for that scheme.
Yep, going to stretch the field for him. Great receiver overall. One of those guys that's just been really consistent throughout his career. Nothing, that's going to blow your socks off, but he'll have games where he throws off for 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? He's had those games.
Oh, yeah.
And you add him into a receiving core with a young and upcoming Laviska Shenault, a solid DJ Chark as well. DJ Chark is very good, slept on. And he's never had a good quarterback. So with Trevor Lawrence, he could be, the next level too. Running backs, they got fucking James Robinson now, undrafted kid that came out in 8 last year. He was an absolute fantasy hero for whoever got him.
Oh, man.
Didn't even change his lineup in our league, got him. So that was cool. But they have a really formidable offense. Now they have to address their defense. I think whoever comes in, that offense will be fine. Their defense needs to be fixed. A lot of holes. They let a lot of people go because they're in that rebuilding phase. But just taking a look at who they added here, they added Shaquille Griffin from the Seahawks, so I think that was a good pickup.
I love that pickup. He went there because of the contract. I mean, they paid him pretty well.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's $40 million.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, but let's be honest. I mean, that is a contract for that guy.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's worth that much. But if they're going to pay you that much, you're going, right?
Absolutely.
Not a bad situation now. I wouldn't be hating to go to Jacksonville with Trevor coming in. You got Urban Meyer now as your head coach, so not a bad.
Hang out in Florida, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they added Jamal Agnew too. That's another wide receiver they added. So he's a decent guy. He plays a lot of special teams too. So that's another guy they like. So yeah,
I'd like to see them look at the offensive line maybe in the draft.
Yeah,
because they can have all the weapons. You can have all the weapons you want, but got to protect the guy too.
Mm-hmm. They did a lot of offensive work for sure. Yeah. By the picks that I'm seeing here, pickups that they got, they also added Carlos Hyde, so they're bolstering up that running back committee for them. So he'll have Carlos Hyde and James Robinson back there now. I mean, they're getting guys that are mainly in their 20s. They're building a young team. I think they still need to address their defense a little bit more. They added some low level guys.
They have Josh Allen still too, not the quarterback, the other one, the DN. He's pretty good. He's young. But
yeah.
It's hard when you're getting double teamed the whole time.
I think for the Jaguars grade, they're addressing some good things on the offensive side. I think their defensive side needs a little bit of work. They added Shaq Griffin. I think they overpaid him a little bit, but whatever. They have the cap space, so add a good veteran in there. I'll give them a B. I'll give him a B just because I like the addition of Marvin Jones, Jamal Agnew, and then Carlos Hyde on the offensive side. And they have James O'Shaughnessy, so a couple other tight ends they added in. They're making a little bit of a better place for Trevor Lawrence to come into right away. But their defensive side definitely needs more addressing. So I think there's some room for improvement.
I'll give him a C. They didn't address the line. They need to get him some more help up front. And the defense is virtually the same. So
honestly, yeah, you're right. I don't think they did enough on defense, so I'm going to lower mine down to a C plus. That's what I think. C++.
I mean, the team isn't really that much different when you think about it. To be honest, it's like, okay, Carlos Hyde, he's going to be a backup. He's just going to be a fill-in player.
He's a good depth guy. He's a good depth guy, and I really, realistically, I just like Marvin Jones a lot. That's why I like.
Yeah. I mean, even
then, I like that.
I don't know. He's good, but they had DJ Chark, and then they had Chenault, and they had Keelan Cole, who started doing good the second half of the season as well. So it was almost like, all right, we get like a top tier guy, or it's like, what's the point? Like, I don't know. They could have money well spent on a defensive player.
Yeah, I agree. I like a C grade for them. I mean, you don't have a number one receiver on that team. Carlos Hyde is probably top tier backup running back in the league. If your running back gets hurt, you love to have him.
Yeah.
And I mean, they don't have an offensive line. I mean, look at Joe Burrow. I mean, how good was Joe Burrow? He didn't have an offensive line. He was running for his life and then tore his ACL. I mean, it makes you nervous, you know? As good as Trevor Lawrence is, it just makes you nervous. You need to have those stud big guys up front. But hopefully they can, get somebody or address it in the draft. Either way.
That's a good segue that you brought up the Bengals there, because I think the Bengals are going to talk about next. They lost a few big pieces, but they did add some guys that I do like. They added 2 corners. They're addressing that secondary that had a lot of struggles last year. So they added Mike Hilton and Chidobe Awuzie, who are both pretty solid corners. So all 2 of those guys, both of those guys are good additions for them. I think in that secondary, they needed a lot of work. So I like those pickups, and both of those guys are still relatively young. Both of them right in their primes, 26, 27. And they also added a good pass rusher, Trey Hendrickson from the Saints. So I also like that pickup. So they're addressing their defensive side of the ball, which was clearly the area they needed the most work in. But that O-line obviously needs a lot of work. Like you said, Dylan, I think you just said it before, but that O-line let Joe Burrow get killed last year. The man has ACL and MCL reconstruction going on right now because of that. So they need to address that like ASAP. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I understand, working on that defense. I mean, they're just an overall awful team. I mean, at the end of the day. But, I mean, yeah, you got to work on the defense. But that offensive line, I mean, they should really think about maybe even going 1, 2, 3 in the draft, all offensive line.
They're projected.
Like it's that serious of a problem for them.
They're projected to get the best tackle in the draft, Penei Sewell from Oregon. So if they do get him, which I think they should, I mean, protect fucking.
I mean, definitely.
The guy's a stud. Get him protection, and he's going to do good things for you. They also have to find a replacement now. Well, not a replacement. They still got Tyler Boyd, and they still got T. Higgins. Yeah. T. Higgins. They still got both of those 2 stud wideouts. But C.J. Uzomah, the guy that went down screaming with his fucking he went down screaming. C.J. Uzomah went screaming last year when his Achilles fucking popped out of place. So they have no tight end.
Dude,
and they just
that's a nasty injury.
They lost A.J. Green and John Ross. And I know John Ross has been a disappointment, but when he's on the field, he usually plays decently well. So they lost both of those guys in free agency. So I'm assuming they're going to have to go add somebody. I don't know if it'll be anybody big, but they got the money for it. So maybe they will.
If I had to give them a grade, dude, I'm giving them nothing better than D+. If I'm Joe Burrow, bro, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Get out of town! I'm nervous if I'm Joe Burrow.
Bro. The only excitement they got going on is they might add white Tiger jerseys. Like, other than that, it's like, bro, that place is a dumpster.
Yeah. If I'm Joe Burrow, I'm like, shit, now I got a couple more guys I got to go against in practice. What the fuck?
No one wants to play for Cincy, but this man had no choice.
I mean, he got that heart, though, man. If they give him half a team, that dude, he'll put it on the line for him.
Yeah, I mean, he showed a lot of good flashes. That team just doesn't have a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is why I like a little bit of what they're doing. They added 2 established corners in their primes, and they also added an elite pass rusher. So I do like those 2 pickups. So I won't give him a D+. I'll give him a C- because, like Mike said, protecting Joe Burrow should be top priority, and they're not doing that right now.
You gotta protect the franchise quarterback. Till you do that, I don't care what the fuck you do. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a D- for me. I mean, you gotta make your guy comfortable.
The only reason I gave him a C- is because I think they're gonna take the top tackle in the draft. That's why.
Yeah.
So,
and I get what you're saying. No, I definitely agree with that. I just think they should have they should have went for Corey Linsley, Joe Thuney easily. They should have overpaid him.
Absolutely. I mean, they have the money for it. And like, you know what you need to do. You watch your quarterback fucking shatter his knee in 7 places this year. Like, it was ugly. Like, that was one that was hard to watch this year. That was a really gross leg injury. Like, I felt so bad for the kid. Such a young player, like, so much.
He was playing well too. I mean, he was
lighted up.
He was breaking off like 30, 20-yard runs and like
they weren't winning games, but they were still playing decently well with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like, you have so many years ahead of you. You can address the defense. I understand that. But like, let's get some camaraderie around your quarterback and then build the defense as you're going on. I mean, let's protect the guy. I mean, his first year in the league as a stud, number 1 pick, phenomenal player, and he tears his ACL. It's like, then you kind of like, damn, I took this guy. But it is what it is. I mean,
yeah, realistically,
got to protect the guy.
They got to protect the guy, and that's why the rankings are low from our end.
Yeah.
I think a good team to talk about next that we can go into too, that's had some big departures, but also some big gains as well. The Tennessee Titans. So the Titans lost Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis, so they're going to have to add someone to catch the ball for them, because that those are their 2 top targets in the passing game last year, other than AJ Brown.
Oh, yeah.
So AJ Brown they still got, but they got you can't just have one player. You see what happens with the fucking Packers when they have one player. Obviously, no one's on the level of Devontae Adams on that team, but still.
They're lucky they have Aaron Rodgers, man.
Mm-hmm. I really like Ryan Tannehill. I will say Tannehill has really, really impressed me over the last few years, and I thought he was going to be good. When he left the Dolphins, because the Dolphins at that time when he played for them were very, very bad. So I was like, okay, this guy hasn't gotten a fair shot. I liked what I saw from him. So he's played so much better on the Titans. I'm happy his career's taken off. But they just got rid of 2 of your weapons, dude. So it's like you got to fucking add somebody for him to throw to, because they're just going to go fucking 10 in the box, and you're not going to be able to stop. They shouldn't do anything to stop Derrick Henry. So they lost 2 big offensive players, so they're going to have to fill that need. But they did add some big defensive players. They're really beefing up that pass rush. They added Bud Dupree and Danico Autry from Indianapolis. So those 2 guys right off the edge, right? That's a bing bang boom. Fucking, you got your D line is way more set up to be successful now. Although Bud Dupree is coming off a major injury, but what do you guys think of those signings?
I love them. I think their defense is their biggest issue. I mean, you lost your tight end, you lost your wide receiver. I understand that, but I mean, Ryan Tannehill again. He takes care of the football. He does. He doesn't do anything crazy. He's not a flashy player, but he does take care of the ball. And I mean, look at their defense. Every single time they played a good team, they were giving up 30, 40 points. So I love it. I think it's a great step in the right direction.
Their secondary could use some work, though, still. Last offseason, they lost Logan Ryan, who was their top corner, and he played phenomenal. They let him go. And then this offseason, they released Malcolm Butler, who kind of sucked, to be quite
overrated.
He kind of sucked, quite frankly, when they first got him after he left New England. But last year, he played really solid. He looked like a top corner again, and they just released him just for cap space purposes. But we'll see.
I like the guy. I think he's overrated. I think they signed him on one play, and just not how it works.
Although I will say he had some good years in New England. I'm not going to lie, even after that.
I mean, yeah, but when you think of Malcolm Butler, what do you think about?
Yeah, that's fair, but
you know what I mean.
He's good, but
you can beat the guy. You can beat the guy deep. I mean, it's been done. It happens all the time.
You need to address the secondary, and they also need to address getting a number 2 wide receiver now or another tight end.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, overall, they're a fairly well-built team. I mean, I'd have to probably give them a B+ if they literally just had one guy in the secondary, a solid guy, and then, just even a decent pass catcher, either a tight end or wide receiver, then boom.
And they have some guys on that team, too, that have been kind of buried in the depth chart. I forget the tight end's name last year. Jonnu Smith didn't play a game or 2, and he came up and he performed really well. Berkshire, I want to say it was, something like that. Something along those lines. He had a weird name, but he was some dude that didn't really get a lot of playing time. Came in and played pretty well. Then they started using him more throughout the year. But then on offense on wide receiver as well, they had Adam Humphries, who also played pretty decent at times as well. So
I like him out of the slot.
Yeah, they'll get some guys that can do some good things out there. Then they could use one more wideout and another man in the secondary, like Mike said. So I'll give them a B+ just because they really addressed the premier pass rusher, which I think is a huge thing in the NFL these days. So
Yeah. A- for me. I think they're moving in the right direction, focusing on D. I think, to all three of us, Jonnu Smith leaving that team is probably the biggest surprise. I mean, one of top three. I mean, we all thought, damn, that guy, he's the security blanket, red zone target.
I mean, he was phenomenal. He was lights out in the red zone.
I don't know. They didn't want to pay him. They just didn't want to pay him
for
whatever reason. And I think it's going to hurt them. I really do. But
100%.
We'll see what happens.
Their red zone efficiency is going to go down like crazy. The guy had over 10 touchdowns last year.
Yep.
I was fucking eating on all cylinders.
Hopefully, that defense can help them out now, but we'll see.
And I think the next one, just a good way to transition. I just feel like this team needs to be talked about because they made some pretty interesting pickups that are just like fun. And this division will be funny next year. What about the fucking Washington football team pulling Ryan Fitzmagic in and then now adding Curtis Samuel today?
Oh my God. A+. I give him an A+. I really do. I said it in the last video and I'm going to stick to it. I said, you get them an average, quarterback and they're going to do great. Then they got a receiver. Now you have Fitzmagic. I mean, I honestly put him above average. He's not going to be your franchise quarterback, but he is going to go out there and he's going to throw the football and he's going to try to win game. And that defense with him, I mean, that's going to be dangerous. In that division, they might win that division outright. They might completely outright win that division.
I really do, because they also addressed another need. They bolstered up the secondary even more. The secondary was really pretty good last year, and they added in William Jackson, who was the Bengals standout corner. So they paid him a huge contract, $40+ million. They added him into the secondary that was already solid to begin with. That defense is super legit. One of the best Ds in the league. That pass rush is fucking lethal. That's going to be a really tough team to play. They're just hard-nosed. It's a hard-nosed team. They added in Curtis Samuel, which is a huge addition in my opinion. They were really lacking that really dominant wide receiver too. With Terry McLaurin, he's a fucking beast. And then Logan Thomas had a breakout year last year. Antonio Gibson balled last year. Man, if they add a little bit more help on the O-line, that team's going to be good. They're pretty complete.
Yeah. Fitzmagic is he's gonna win games. I mean, if the Dolphins left him in, I love the direction they went with Tua, but if they left Fitzmagic in, they're a playoff team. I mean, that's a fact. That guy, I mean, you saw it, man. I mean, he slings the ball, man. He makes mistakes, but he'll throw 4 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's the way he is.
What's great about that signing, too, is you have a guy who's unproven in Heineke. So if he does end up being a bust, boom, you throw Fitzmagic right in, you're still rolling. Or Heineke balls out with that competition, and boom, you're rolling. And you still got the draft left. You literally, this whole free agency, they could do nothing else unless the rest stuff in the draft, which is basically just the O-line. And they're honestly a really damn good team.
Yeah, I like that team.
Yeah, I think they did have one big departure. They did lose Ronald Darby in the secondary, but they replaced him with William Jackson. So, I mean, realistically, that defense is going to be the same, if not a little bit better. Their offense, they definitely helped a lot. I mean, fucking Haskins wasn't the answer, that idiot. So, I think that they're in a lot better shape. They've had a sneaky good free agency period, and no one really talks about them. I think realistically, they get an A in my book.
Yeah, they got an A from me too.
A+ for me.
They're not pushing the agenda. They're not doing too much. They're doing exactly what they need to do, keeping that team in place, just filling the needs.
If you think about it, they really just needed a quarterback last year. That was really the only bad position they had, realistically. And now that we saw that, shining light out of nowhere with Heineke and adding the veteran in with Fitzpatrick, who obviously still got a little bit left in the tank, the guy's a really good player. I don't know. I like what they're doing, and they're coached up well. Ron Rivera is good. He's a fighter, beat cancer. Good for that man.
That dude's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He's a beast.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a team to look out for, man. I'm telling you, that with that defense, like Mike said, defense wins championships. And if you got an offense that can put up, they're going to be able to put up 20+ points a game. Dale, I'll partner with you on that. I think they're going to win the division too.
No, I agree. On to Tampa Bay, they retained their big names. They somehow did it. Restructured deal with Tom Brady, gave him the extension. The only one that they're missing, though, is Lombardi Lenny, which I think they're going to let walk. But they got Levante David back. They got Chris Godwin back on the franchise tag. And
Shaq Barrett, they got
Shaq
back.
And he took a pay cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah, a pay cut with a $68 million contract.
It is a pay cut, though. It is.
Fucking, I mean,
he could have made about 22, 24. He took 18 or something like that.
Yeah, no, he's probably one of the best pass rushers in the league right now. So I mean, yeah, him and JPP. That's a fucking they got JPP back as well. Got JPP back. They re-signed their kicker. Ryan Succop had a great year.
And Gronk's 1-year deal.
Brady got. They will sign Antonio Brown. I guarantee you that.
But I mean, overall, I mean that's kind of self-explanatory. Anytime you can bring almost the entire cast together from a Super Bowl winning team, I mean that's right there. That's got to be like an A+ grade. They literally don't need to do anything else. Their team is so young in the other positions.
Yeah, it's just going to build chemistry. It's just going to keep them rolling. It's an A+ all day. I mean,
I
they have a team to beat, and that's that.
I think the only player they're not going to be able to afford to bring back is Leonard Fournette, and I think they're going to replace him with James White, which I'm going to be really sad about. So.
I can see that.
Which is what's wrong with that? You have your running back with Ronald Jones, and then you got James White out the backfield.
I mean,
come on.
Like realistically, like that is such a lethal backfield too. And I don't sleep on Keyshawn Vaughn. I think he's actually pretty decent too. So dude, that team is fucking loaded. And I think you're 100% right. AB will come back again. I think AB will be there I think AB and Gronk go wherever Brady go at this point. If Brady were to drop his contract tomorrow and go to the fucking Jaguars, he'd be on the Jaguars tomorrow too. You know what I mean? Like that's just how they roll right now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's A+. That's self-explanatory. Then on to the Raiders. They've been making a lot of interesting moves.
Yeah, the Raiders, man. I mean, they've lost some big pieces. I'm just pulling up right now what they lost.
Rodney Hudson, Trent Brown.
Yep, Rodney Hudson,
big pieces. They lost wide receiver too to the Pats.
Aguilar.
Yeah, breakout year.
He's starting to come out. Yeah.
Defensive side, like Vin reminded me they added Yannick Ngakoue and they added Solomon Thomas. That's huge. That was probably their biggest issue last year was their defense.
They addressed a very important need in the NFL today, which is getting a premier pass rusher. They added 2 solid pass rushers, Yannick Ngakoue being an even better one, probably. Solomon Thomas just didn't have the career yet that was hoped to have. But, they brought him in on a cheap deal, $5 million, and the guy is obviously loaded with talent. He just needs the right situation. So he could be very good for them. Yannick Ngakoue has been waiting for the right situation. I think this will be it with John Gruden over there, over in Vegas, so we can go blow his money.
No taxes over there, I'm pretty sure, too.
Probably. I don't know, but... Yeah, I mean, and then like to replace Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar was a great player for them last year. They did add John Brown, who I think is a very solid guy, very slept on, good deep threat for them, and that's what they lost in Nelson Aguilar, so they replaced it with that. They also lost Tyrell Williams, so I think they're going to need a little bit more help at the wide receiver position, for sure. Yeah. But overall, hopefully for them, what's his name?
Well, they added Zay Jones too. He's honestly not a bad depth guy on there. He's a quick guy.
Derek Carr hasn't panned out to be what he was, but he's a great quarterback. Man, he's had some really, really solid years, including last year. And I like that team. I do.
I like Derek Carr, and I like the team, too, going down the stretch. I think they're going to get better and better every year. John Gruden's a good coach. I think Henry Ruggs will also take a step up this year as well, be that elite deep threat that they were hoping for with the speed and all that shit. So if you're on a good team with that amount of talent, with that good of a coach too. So it's like he's in a great situation to strive and get better. So I think that he'll be one of the best wide receivers in that team next year.
I think they add some pieces of the secondary and, address the tackle situation that they now have, and they'll pretty much be all set and ready to go. They're honestly a pretty good team.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I'd probably give them a B, at least a B.
Yeah. No,
solid B+ all day.
I think that a B is fair. They lost, some good players, but they also added some very good players, and they addressed very important positions for them. And I think that, with the additions they have, they didn't go back or forth too much. So they're pretty much stagnant from last year. I think with a couple more additions, they could run their team out a little bit more. But overall, I think a pretty good free agency for them so far.
But anyway, that was a damn good recap right there. The free agency has just been off the wall this year. It's been great to see whether you're, a casual fan or a fan of football like us. So guys, leave us a comment. Let us know, where you think these guys are going to be heading out, the remaining free agents like Lenny Fournette, Chris Carson, the works. There's still plenty of big names. David Andrews is still a top lineman out there. So again, comment, subscribe, let us know. We got Chosen Sports. Go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. Give us a shout out. Let us know. we be doing giveaways all the time. We got water bottles, T-shirts, again, through the link in our bios, Teespring. So definitely check us out. This is Mikey Dell. We got my boy Chen over there, T Crush Fuck, and D Money, my fellow ball man. Look at him. Bald and beautiful, baby. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.